to the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Took a vacation last week, like a vacation. I didn't do anything. And, it was a real battle to, like, not post this because I like to do things consistently. But, you know what? I figured everybody should take a vacation once in a while. And I literally didn't open a computer. I didn't really think about it much. And it was really nice. Really nice trip back east to the East Coast. First travel since the pandemic started. And it was great. It was great to see family and catch up and hug my mom and tell everybody I loved them. So, it was interesting. So I'm back this week with a return guest who I just love talking to, and he's had an incredible run here, and I'm going to let him tell you all about it. This is thanks for tuning in, and enjoy my talk with one of my favorites, man, Jacob Givens.
What have I been up to? My entire life flipped upside down since the last time we talked. Everything changed, man, like that.
Really?
Yeah, it did.
Like
it did.
Tell me everything. I want to know. First of all, I guess congratulations. But I'll hear about it. So. But it's just like, I want to. It's so interesting to me and so fun. So I'd love to hear.
Well, do I need an audience an idea of like what we're even talking about right now, or do we just dive into the story as to how this all happened?
I say dive in. I put the notes in there, all the links to everything. But long story short, you had a viral TikTok video. I think that's the easiest way to put it. Is like.
I'm gonna say sum it up. So the people listening are thinking I'm being, hyperbolic and I'm exaggerating, but no, literally everything. I was on your show in April.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing about TikTok. People have been telling me you should have a TikTok for years. And I've said, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Because this guy was on Vine.
Right.
And I made Vine and I had fun on Vine. But as the older I got, I thought, I just couldn't possibly, use this app.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget Nicole Amy Schreiber, once tweeted, a year before, when we were on pandemic, she was like, TikTok is ruining so many hot dads. And I thought that was hilarious. Nicole Amy Schreiber is hilarious.
She's amazing. Yeah.
So it's really, really funny. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what the app is going to do. Because I knew what she was saying, which is here are these adults. It could be husbands, fathers, or wives and moms.
Yeah.
But taking these people that are mature, responsible adults, and they're just acting like clowns on an app. And I was like, and so I was thinking to myself, I was like, have I just outgrown this? So I won't do it. But near the end of the pandemic, I know we're still kind of in the middle of it all, but near the end of 2020, I was like, fine, I'll sign up for this app and screw around in my free time. And so pretty much for the first 4 or 5 months I used it, I had 20 followers. And like I assumed, I was like, well, I'm just going to be making content that entertains me, my friends. Shortly after we talked, on a more somber note, Ryan Demarest, who was a comedian that I was good friends with, he passed away.
Yeah.
And this kind of was what prompted it to even come together. It was the weekend after he'd passed.
Yeah.
And I was sitting around in my backyard. I was listening to music and I was a little weepy. And I was listening to music, and Ryan and I were really into music, like you and I are really into music. You and I geek out over pumpkins and alternative, and we talk about our favorite music.
Yeah.
And Ryan was a friend like that for me too. He was a metalhead. So we talked about metal bands. We always, even over text during the lockdown, we were like, I can't wait to get out of this and let's go see a show together.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there and I was listening to music and I was thinking of the transformative power of music. That was how meaningful and how special it can be and how it can be life-changing. And suddenly, like a bolt of lightning, I thought of Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. I remembered sitting there And I remember seeing that video on 120 Minutes and just rocking my world.
Yeah.
So I sat there in this video and I recorded myself back and forth, like you've seen in the video. I did this back and forth. Did 2 people in Nirvana first time. And I record it, and then I don't even publish it. I close the app and I put it in my pocket. And the next morning, on Monday morning, I get up and I open up TikTok and it's like, hey, you forgot to publish this video.
Yeah.
And my hand hovered over delete. I was like, who cares? I don't have anybody who follows me, and this was kind of dumb anyway.
Right.
And I was like, whatever. So I hit publish.
Yeah.
And then I go to work, and it's like my lunch break, and I open up the app, and it says I've got 80,000 views. And I'm like, what? I was through my phone. I was like, you know me. I've made Good Cops, Tumbleweed, Harker, all these things, and nothing has hit it like that fast,
Yeah, yeah.
So I come home that day and I tell my wife, I go. By that time, I'm like, I'm at 170,000 views, and by the time I'm going to bed, it's 300,000 views. So the next morning, I decide to get up and I go, well, let's see if lightning can strike twice.
Yeah.
And so I sit down. And I think of another moment. It was Radiohead's Creep. Did that little video, and I published it. And then that thing, just keeps going. So that week, these videos they get to 1 million, and I'm just kind of dumbstruck by the whole thing that's going on.
Yeah.
And so I just decide, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these videos about songs that really melted my face off.
Yeah.
And the art behind it was, people would get on there and be like, on the notes and comments. Now, 90% of them have been positive.
Yeah.
But every now and then people are like, well, this isn't even the band's best song.
Right.
And like, well, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not showing you the best song they ever did. I'm showing you my introduction to their music. I'm showing you kind of how they took my breath away.
Yeah.
So then everything changed. I know I'm being long-winded on this, Matt. So I'll try.
Oh my God!
I'll speed it up.
Please don't.
But I get to Rage Against the Machine, which is just a week after those other two.
Yeah.
And I do Rage Against the Machine, Freedom.
Yeah.
And I do it in the backyard, and that's the one where something special happened. It was 24 hours later. It was in 1 million, and then once it got its way to Tom Morello from the Machine, and he retweeted the video that I didn't even post. It was another guy, this really talented writer, podcaster named Paul Bay. He puts it on his Twitter, and Tom retweets it, and then I'm getting sent these articles. I'm in Spin Magazine, I'm on Louder.com, I'm in Metal, I'm on all these websites, and I was like, I cannot believe that after 2 decades in Los Angeles and grinding after them and making an indie film and doing YouTube series and working my ass off, this silly thing caught fire. So yeah, it's been absolutely bananas.
But I mean, doing all those 2 decades led to you being able to craft such a clever thing so quickly and easily. Like the writing of the Rage Against the Machine one is amazing. And, basically if you haven't seen it, pause and go look at it right now and then come back, because it's, dude, I'm probably 1,000 of your views. And I've resisted TikTok because it's dangerous. Like, it is so goddamn addictive. It's crazy.
It is addictive. It's a very addictive application. And for people who are listening who don't have a TikTok, I mean, look, you can go into a browser and you can type in, TikTok, Jacob Givens, and you can go to my page. You don't even have to have an account, so you can watch it that way. Yeah. Because I have a lot of people in my life, friends and family, that are like, I'm not making a TikTok. You know what I mean? Like, just won't do it. Yeah. So I've been trying as hard as I can to bring it to Instagram, to Twitter, to bring it to these other platforms.
I saw it on YouTube. Also. So it's, somebody else uploaded it on YouTube before I did. And then, I did finally, but it's crazy, man. I mean, the hardest part, of course, is TikTok seems to have a little bit more fluid rules on copyrighted music. That they're a little bit more forgiving. I will upload these clips to Instagram or Facebook,
And they'll get
kill the
flagged
music.
immediately.
Yeah.
They'll say,
Yeah.
we are not airing this video. This has got copyrighted material. So this whole thing of building this TikTok account and getting followers, I mean, one day, like the record companies could come smashing through my account and just go, every video in here is going to be deleted. And you go, okay, that's fine. But it's fun while it lasts.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're what you should try to do. I'm sure you've thought through this, but like you need to turn that into your people that can follow you from wherever, you know, like I would love a podcast about every one of these songs.
I'm way ahead of you.
I know you are.
I'm on the verge of launching. It did hit me. I was like, well, obviously I could talk about these albums and songs and these moments forever. And people in the comments were like, you should have a podcast.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I will. So I know last time I was on the show, we were talking pretty heavy about religion and that possible direction. And I mean, maybe that'll come back, but it seems that the universe is kind of saying, okay, talk about music, talk about bands right now. Yeah. That's going to be your thing. And so I'm embracing it. I'm running with it. And I have a podcast coming out, I'm hoping by next week. So
that's awesome. And I mean, the fun thing is you can talk about it by yourself. You can talk about it with other people. It doesn't matter. Right. And, dude, that's awesome. I can't wait. It's so fun because, you know, music is just endlessly fun to talk about.
It is.
And especially when you really get into it. And I want to say that going back to the TikTok thing, you know, like I said, the writing of it is amazing, but what's really cool about it and interesting and so unique, I think, to you is I know you well enough to know your background, but the tinge of guilt associated with listening to the music you were listening to is so interesting because, you know, it's a whole other layer, you know, and that would come with, in my experience, you know, like satanic music, right? Like I didn't grow up as hardcore religious as you did, but like it didn't cross my mind nearly how much it did for you, nor did the names of the bands even resonate. When I saw your Faith No More one, I was like, holy shit, that is like a slap in the face, right? Like I just thought it was a great band name, you know, but like,
I don't think I told this story on a TikTok or on a video yet, but true story. I was at like a summer camp through my church and we were working on houses. We were like doing construction type stuff. And this kid and I were talking about Faith No More on a cassette tape like this. And the youth pastor who was leading this thing, because we're young boys, he's like, what'd you say? And the kid I'm with, he goes, it's a band called Faith There's More. And the guy goes, what? He goes, this band that we really like called Faith There's More. And he goes, oh, really? And so he totally, like, on the fly, props to his improv skills, he just swapped out no for theirs, and the guy just accepted it and walked away. And I always thought that was so funny because it was like, it was just the name of the band, but to that group of people and to that cult, it was a big deal. You had to be so secretive, you had to hide. And I've had so many people comment, both, you know, I've had people say like, oh, it was exactly like that for me, you know, from Metallica to Megadeth and the, you know, like the video I did with my mom, just these names, these bands and songs that made them so scared.
Yeah.
Then I've had people that are like, grew up in Ireland, and they're like, I find it so charming that you're so worried about language and blasphemy, because in Ireland, they were like, not even a big deal at all.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see kind of musical journeys for all of us in that, you know.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I pick up on it and like giggle every time. Like, oh yeah, like there was one where you I forget who it was, where you had like you wore the hood over your head. Tool Sober, where I'm scared in the bedroom. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, that one just cracks me up. All I can think about is Beavis and Butthead in that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember when Beavis and Butthead watched it? It's just like,
Yeah.
if I could move my hand that fast, I'd never leave the house. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because, I was drawn to, it's like the more taboo something is, the more you're drawn to it. I'd go to a sleepover at a friend's house and somebody would have Tool and they would show you the album and you'd see the grotesque or the kind of perverse, and you'd like, I want that, I want to see that. And because it was so off limits, it made it even more enticing. Yeah. And, my poor mother, I told her, I was like, all the protecting that you did was really a waste of time, because my brother and I just went deeper and further and became bigger fans. And now we listen to the most, my brother and I both love like the heaviest metal you could possibly fathom. I mean, we're talking sounds and imagery that would, make the devil go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah. I would have never thought of it as like, and I think it's interesting when you think about like the punk movement, right? Like, I don't think grunge got that treatment,
no.
As like a rebel's music, it just was what it was. But for you, it still was rebel. Like any music probably was, it's hard to get away from it, Yeah,
it was tough. I would say the when Joel and I, my brother, were listening to Megadeth and Metallica and stuff like that, that got us into trouble. And then when we switched to grunge, it was a little easier. My parents were a little kind of, looking over our shoulder and checking things out, but they really quickly started figuring out that it was just a bunch of angsty teenager music, people in flannel and all that stuff. And then they kind of chilled out a little bit. But I had my own hangups. I was going to church a lot at that age, and like I did in one of the videos, I was a huge Tori Amos fan. And if you're a Tori Amos fan, she has a very complicated relationship with her past belief system. And, when she put out Under the Pink and she had that song called God, Sometimes You Just Don't Come Through.
Yeah.
I remember being in my car and there were times that I would skip the song or I'd turn it down because I'd have so much inner strife and anxiety over that feeling. Now I crank it. Because now I'm like, it doesn't even faze me anymore. I don't do those things anymore. But it's just crazy the impact it had on me back then.
I think what I love is, especially, I think the reason, for me especially, the Rage Against the Machine one really hit a nerve was because I now kind of kick myself for not listening closer to the lyrics and enacting change as a result of hearing them. You know what I mean? Like in your video when you're like, I'm angry too, but I'm learning. It's like, I feel like I didn't learn it well enough. You know what I mean? Like, and now in this day and age, you're like, we all need to re-listen to that and realize we've still let it slip. We could do better. And Zach De La Rocha told us that very early in the 90s. Like it's almost like a point of shame sometimes, just like, damn it, it didn't hit me hard enough, I guess. And it's just that's why that video is so good. Cause you're just like, damn, they, some people got it. And, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's so good.
I know it was like, like Rage Against the Machine was really, if you were somebody who grew up with hip hop, NWA, Public Enemy.
Right.
These were things that these messages about not trusting authority and the police and the system is rigged and especially out to get people of color. I was a kid in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and my exposure to hip hop and rap was really minimal. And that had to do with just circles of friends and what you're exposed to. And being a musician, I gravitated towards things that were guitar driven. That's like what I wanted to hear. So I was missing out on all of that. But Rage Against the Machine was marrying the two. It was bringing over these messages and, free Leonard Peltier and, you're watching SNL and on their first live performance, they're hanging the American flag upside down. And then they're kicked off the show. I mean, these were things that when you're a kid, you're like, what? You can speak out like that? You could do that? And it planted that seed early on of like, maybe we're being lied to, maybe the system is kind of set up to help a very select small few. But I mean, I had a lot to learn, obviously. I had a long journey to go.
Yeah. Damn. No, it's so fun, dude. I'm so happy for you, but it's also like, damn, isn't it interesting how it just happens? And it's so bizarre too, because that app is just global. There are so many people. There's so many people.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. It just never ends. And it's like, well, yeah, people are more interesting in so many ways than we ever gave credit, and it's, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what you were saying about how crazy that it happens like this is that's a true testament to the public will make the decision.
Right.
And, I wasn't trying on this one. Yeah. I am now because I'm making content for people that want, but this wasn't something that I went to bed that night and was like, I can't wait to go viral tomorrow.
Right.
Like I said in the beginning, something I almost threw away, something I almost discarded. But one thing that I think comes through, and my brother and I were talking about this on the phone, is he said there's an authenticity that's being captured about your love and your passion and your feelings that's really hard to pretend. It's really hard to fake that level of love and passion for music. And it's true. I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm so great. I'm just saying all I'm doing is what I do all the time, which is when you get me going and talking about a song or a band, I go crazy. I get so excited. Yeah. And a lot of that has disappeared from my adult life because as I became a parent and a responsible adult and I have a job, it's not like I can sit around and geek out about music all the time, but I used to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to be able to bring that back has been like the best. The best. I feel young, talking about bands again.
Yeah, it's invigorating. It's really invigorating. I feel the same. And we talked before that the pandemic has made me play drums again, like regular on like all the time. And it's like, I forgot how much I love this. Like I absolutely love it. And I think that it's just, it's so cool. It's so cool to have figured it out in that way. And I think probably if I think I know the way you'll do this is like now you're obligated in the best possible way to continue to raise the bar. Like how interesting is it to, as a writing exercise too, to be like, come up with how long are the videos? Like a minute? Like not even like
a minute. A minute. That's all I got.
It's so cool.
They allow you, this is a new feature. They allow you now to do 3 minutes. But I got to be honest, like I just did my first one that was a minute and a half, and that was my thank you for 100K followers. That's what it was. It was, I took the time, I stretched out a little bit because I wanted to cover a certain amount of ground. I didn't want to go the full 3 minutes. Yeah. But for me, it's more exciting to kind of make this short and sweet and to do it in a minute, to convey it in a minute. It makes it challenging. Like the one I just did this week was Megadeth's Holy Wars. And that's his 6.5 minute song. And it was so hard for me to distill that feeling down into a minute. It was a challenge because I sat there and when I recorded it, I recorded the whole song. I came up with the idea because I was sitting across from Jamie and I was like, I want to do Megadeth, but I don't know what to do. And so she's like, well, play the song you want to do. So I put on Holy Wars and I start going like, and then there's this part and then you got to do, and I'm doing the whole thing. And she at the end of it goes like, well, that's your video. Yeah. She's like, your video is somebody communicating the excitement of going through all these different sections of the song. Yeah. And so I've recorded the whole thing and I'm like, how do I trim? I mean, it took me, this is behind the music. It took me like 3.5, 4 hours to edit that one. It never takes me that long, but it took me forever because I didn't know how do I trim this? And so I sat there for hours just trying to make it work. But yeah, it makes me raise the bar. It's fun. Every time I do it, I smile and I laugh. I have the most fun. And I'm really hoping, I mean, kind of the dream scenario out of this. Yes, podcast, yes, YouTube. I would love it if life presented me an opportunity to be a modern day version of the MTV VJ. You know, to be in a situation where, I mean, with comedy too. I don't want to just be Kurt Loder reading MTV News, but I don't want to be
stand up. By the way,
I don't want to be behind a desk and reading news. But
I actually don't know if he's terrible.
I would love to have the opportunity. Like, let's say somebody came along and they said, "Hey, we're launching this new music network, and we'd like you to do what you do. You know, you talk about the new bands that are coming out, you do some throwbacks, whatever, but you talk to guests." And you do that. And so I would love that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build this podcast. I'm going to do some this YouTube stuff. And I'm just going to see if maybe life will open the door. And that's what I got to do. I think that would be pretty simple.
Just start doing it. And eventually it goes. It happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing. That's really good. That's a cool idea. And I think, like I said, there's so many people. You don't need everybody. You need the people that like that. There's this dude, I think it's called the Session IG Live or something. He's you know what? I don't even know deeply about him. He just has him, and it only is live. He doesn't put it anywhere else. You just join when he joins, and it's him playing and appreciating a song, like together with all the people that are on the live session. And if you miss it, you miss it. It's over. But like he'll pause it and he'll break the tracks out and solo. I guess he's using Pro Tools or something to just separate out the tracks and be like, hold on, listen to this fucking drum beat right here. And then he'll and you're just like, fuck, I never listened to it.
And he can get away with it. And he can get away with it because he's live, right? It's not captured and kept. So it's like you can play music on a live because it's like, well, this is going to be gone, right? Yeah. That's a cool idea.
But here's the thing though, is like, as a musician with music available on the internet, I can proudly say, if you're talking about it because you love it, I don't want my cut of the royalty for you listening to that song right now. You already bought the record, obviously, in some form over the course of the last 20 years. Even if you fucking illegally downloaded it, I don't give a shit. Like, the game has changed.
I hope.
I hope. I mean, that's why people shit on Metallica for going after Napster. Like, in a way, it was such a weird battle. Like, it's like, well, listen, man, like, I get that it's the principle. You should be paid for your work, but let's flip it. Like, all the years, I was literally just talking about this the other day. When you do royalties as a musician, and you sign up with that and you split the royalties and you divide it out so that you're getting paid royalties from like a service like BMI or whatever for the use of your music. It used to be like, college radio was a handwritten sheet by the person who was doing the DJing that day. And then they counted those sheets. I'm like, well, you got 9 plays across the nation this week. Here's 4 cents, Whereas now it's digital. So now you can argue that Spotify and all of those companies need to pay artists better, and I would agree. But
yeah, I agree.
At least we have the battle taken where we know how many plays we got, right? So I know that you used 4 seconds of my song on a show, and I know that it showed up in 9 countries. Therefore, we're good. Here's my rate. Here's what you pay me. So now that we can capture it effectively, it's like, okay, well, let's do this then. Like, and as an artist, you should be able to say, like, it's the fair use idea. Like, you could tape my song off the radio back in the day and then show your friends on the cassette you taped off the radio. And guess what? If they liked it, they bought it again. I realize that cheapens the product of a song. But the model that all those people who railed against it doesn't exist really anymore. It's different now.
Yeah.
You can write a song, record your song, post your song, sell it, make it available for free. And guess what? If it's good, people find it. and in way smaller numbers than they ever used to when a radio station said, this is the song that you have to hear, and we're going to play it every 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's so different now. Like, I guess I'm glad I grew up that way, because now I feel like there's so much shit I don't even know half of what's going on, you know? Whereas like, we got fed some incredible bands in the 90s. Would we have ever heard of them? Like, every time you talk to, like, you hear Pearl Jam talk, you hear the bands talk about, dude, they're like, there were 12 other bands that were better than us. I don't know why this happened. You know, like the drummer from Hum, who unfortunately just passed away recently, would compliment other drummers where they came from. I think it was Illinois. Like, he's like, dude, I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand it. It just is. Yeah. And so now I think they all can exist if they can just find their people like never before. That was when did rant, but it's
no. Like, I get it.
All to say, if you're going to play my song and talk about it on a podcast for 2 hours, cool.
I mean, that's honestly what I hope all of them think. I hope that all of them know that this comes from a place of being a fan. I'm a fan. I am a fan of the music. It's moved my life, and I've spoken about it my whole life. And you know, there's one thing I'm not going to do is, you know, I've had friends that'll be like, you should do a video about hearing this song because it sucks, and your negative reaction to it. I was like, no.
Why?
I'm not. I have zero interest in giving attention to songs to shit on them.
You know what's a twist on that idea that's interesting, right?
What?
Is, and I figured this out, is there were songs I hated in the 90s because they weren't like the other shit I loved, that when I listen to them now, I'm like, that was actually really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to do that in a video that says, here's a song that came out at the time that I didn't get or didn't connect with me, and now I do, and now I think it's cool. Yeah. But I don't think I'd ever put any energy in a video where I'm just like, this sucks, you know, just like I have. It's just not. That's not my. It's not who I am as a person, you know. Because even back then, well, actually, I was pretty combative about bands that I hated when I was in high school. I used to get in arguments all the time. I used to get in fights. I'd be like, hey, they suck. But it drives me crazy now. It drives me crazy now when people come along and comment on the videos and they're like, I hate this band, or like, this is the worst. I'm like, well, why are you here? Why are you here? Why waste your energy? This is clearly a space where people really like talking about this band. Yeah. You know, but haters gonna hate.
they is. Yeah, it's really interesting. I know I was talking to my daughter this week, in fact, about Billie Eilish's next record, which I guess, I don't know what it'll do, but whatever, you know, like if it's not as good as the first one, she's going to take so much heat. And I'm like, dude, she's so young. Like, give her 6 or 7 albums. That girl can sing like crazy. I don't care what her album sounds like. Like, it's a snapshot of where she is right now, but her talent is crazy. So, like, it makes me like look at the younger version of ourselves and be like, we were really hard on bands that really made it, you know? People still shit on Nickelback, but Nickelback, they don't give a shit from their mansion. Like,
they made their hits. They, you know what? And those songs connected for some people, and people loved them. And there was a recent trend online of people like confessing their love of Creed. And I was like, you know what? Good for them. Like, by all means, you know, enjoy the music. Yeah, enjoy it. You know, we're here for such a short time. It's like, if you like a band that everybody hates, or you like an artist everybody hates, like, who cares? None of this matters. We're all star stuff. We're born and then we die. If you want to spend your whole life loving, you know, the Spice Girls, do it. You know, God, that's a dated reference. But I'm trying to think of, you know.
I love Creed because one of their songs prompted my buddy to replace their lyrics with one of the funniest shits I ever heard. So like that song, he had a whole riff. Oh my God, he had a whole riff about going to McDonald's from that song, and it was just gold. It was so funny. So, and as you know, the songs were on all the time. Like, if you went out to a bar in 1992,
those songs were out.
You heard those songs for sure, at least twice throughout the course of the night.
Yeah.
And like halfway through, you're just singing along. You're like, fucker, they got me, you know? And being in a band then was hard because you had to think everything else sucked. You know, you're just like, they didn't do as much as we did. And it's just like, no, you have no fucking shot. Like you have no control. You have no control.
Yeah.
And, but that shit stuck through. And I think the 90s were especially full of incredible artists. Like every era, I guess, is, but the 90s was really interesting. Like a lot of new combinations of things that never happened before in grunge and especially from a drummer standpoint. I mean, holy shit. So many good drummers.
I think that, and you know, somebody could argue with me and say that there's good music happening always. You know, that you would say that in the 2000s and the 2010s there was still good bands and good artists. But you're right that okay, why was the 60s the 60s? Why was the 90s the 90s? And why are we probably due for that type of era again? I think it has to do with everything kind of like culminating and exploding into this like creative outpouring of going against what the norm is and what's acceptable and what's okay. And the 90s was that. It was literally people coming out. I think it was, I was just talking to a friend the other day. I know Tarantino said in an interview about why his film, why Pulp Fiction took off in the 90s was because the 80s, everything was very safe. Yeah. And very like nobody was taking a risk and nobody was, you know, everything was just playing within these rules of like what you could put in a movie. And so it's like once that happens, and again in music you have, so yes, there's great artists out there. I'm actually going to start talking about bands that I listen to now that are, you know, blowing my hair back.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're great bands. But the overall cultural zeitgeist, like the feeling is, well, we don't want to rock the boat. We need the hits. We need the radio, you know, and you have these outliers that are doing cool things. Yeah. But at some point in the system, like the whole thing has to like explode. It has to just be like, that's it. We're not doing this anymore. Yeah. And I think that we're on the precipice of that. I think we're about to have it happen again after the coronavirus, after Trump, after just an entire decade of just people losing their minds in this kind of like cultural war of like, what's okay to say, what's not okay to say, who's being canceled, can I say this anymore? I think that there's just going to be this like, I don't care. And it's just going to, and we're going to have another decade of really cool shit.
I think so. You know? People have, I hope so, man. I hope it is. That's gotta be, so. That's gotta be it because
gotta be coming
because the alternative is not okay. So it's pretty nuts. I think, you know, it's interesting when you talk to, and like you, I kind of faded back from music because I love podcasts. So, but I had this, I got the advice to when you run or exercise, don't listen to podcasts because you shouldn't be thinking. Especially running. I think it was specific to running. Yeah, it was specific to running. And I was like, all right, I'll try it. Because I used to pace with running, right? So, and damn it if it didn't work and change my relationship to music again to the point where I'm back making playlists and like really thinking about what I'm listening to. And when a song comes on in my run, I'm like, fuck yeah, you know? Yeah. And just... It's incredible, the power of it. And listening to learn it is also something I love to do, which is to break it down in your mind and separate out the instruments and really listen to one thing. And you're like, fuck, I never noticed that they did that, you know? And I just love it.
It's the same for me is that it brought everything back because back in the physical media days, the CDs, the tapes, you know, when I had my rack of CDs that I carried with me, or my CD booklet or whatever.
Yeah.
You just got in the habit of being like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to listen to Radiohead's The Bends, or I'm going to pop in Alice in Chains' Dirt, or I'm going to, you're going to pop this in, and you're surrounded by it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of like who you are. You're studying it, you're playing in the background, you're hanging out with friends, you're putting on these bands all the time. And then things, not only do you get older, but the whole content, the way we consume content now is Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. Yeah. So it's only on a track by track basis, in that if I want to hear a song or I want to hear some 90s music, I'll go on a 90s playlist, or I'll make my own, or, or I'll just want to listen to that one song. But sitting down and going, I'm going to play Alice in Chains' Dirt start to finish.
Yeah.
That's like something that I hadn't done in 20 years.
Yeah.
And so ever since this started, I started doing it again. And I'll be in the car and I'll be like, my God.
Yeah.
I know every single lyric and every change, and I know when the guitar does this, and I know when I know these moments, because that was a huge part of my life. And now to go back, I'm like, wow, I've been missing just how important this is.
Oh, the art of an album.
How much I love it.
The art of an album as a piece, as a unit, is something that is
like a book.
Yeah, it's so lost, and we worked so hard. We took so much care in like putting the right order, and like this is the flow, and this like it all went away, and I feel like it's coming back. Vinyl's back, and that is the same experience. Is you're going to sit down and listen to this shit, then you're going to flip it over and listen to the other side, and that's the way it goes. Like it's done on purpose. And you look at something like, Pink Floyd records that are a story in and of themselves, and it's really neat, and it's cool that that's coming back. I just think maybe it's never gone away for some people, but I think certainly for me, and I know for you, like it just drifted, and now I'm like, God damn, I love it.
I think in the majority, from what I'm seeing, my TikToks, this whole thing is an indication that it drifted for almost all of us. That 90% of people grow up and you move on and you get busy. And so nostalgia is a powerful thing, because it reminds you of who you once were.
Yeah.
But it's not that you have to live in the past. It's not like the goal is to say, well, today sucks, go back to when you were a kid. But no, I like to believe that what you're doing is you're tapping into that youth that was sitting out late with his friends around a fire, out in a field by your car, jamming and headbanging and air drumming.
Yeah.
And you're bringing that energy back to your adult life. And you're like, oh yeah, I don't have to, I don't want to become the man. I don't want to become like that boring guy who wags his finger and goes, turn it down. I want to remember who I was, and that you can kind of take some of that with you. And so I think what's cool about this is that I think a lot of us got too busy and distracted, but now we're bringing it back. We're inviting people back in, and I think that'll maybe help us grow older with some more fun.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think it's interesting too that like. And that's probably exactly it, is that the age we were when this hit us as hard as it did was before we really had any responsibility and we didn't know it.
Yeah.
And then we had to get through the responsibility for the most part, and we're coming out the other side. Like, I really liked that. And I wonder too, if it's like a olfactory memory where like you said, I know I had a 5-disc changer in our apartment, and in that was, Nirvana and Pearl Jam and the Metallica Black Album, and those 3 were heavy rotation, and then Check Your Head got in there, and then there was one floater that would be like, somebody could Alice in Chains maybe, there was one that would change, but those other 4 were just on shuffle, and you're just like, oh, fuck yeah, like Porch. You're like, oh, Porch comes on. You're just, like, man.
It's great. That's
and
great.
so I think you're absolutely right. And we're at a really good age now to like maybe enjoy it differently, and maybe even with a perspective that like, I'm always amazed when I listen to especially Pink Floyd records to think how wise they were in their 20s about the ways of the world. Like, I find that fascinating. And I think for the better lyrics that came out in the 90s, you know, most of those guys were in their 20s too. Like, I'm just marvel at if they hadn't had it figured out, they at least had a poetic way to express figuring it out, you know?
Yeah.
Which was impressive, I think, because I feel like I was an idiot in my 20s.
Yeah, absolutely. Know? And they were able to see through, something, you know, and it's why we had the music. Now the music would teach us to see through it as well. But I was envious of how these people could, you know, not be distracted by, well, I need to earn, you know, I need to settle down or whatever. And they were just like, man, the world out there, it's not what you think it is. And don't be deceived, and don't fall into institutions, and always create and be true to yourself. And you're like, wow, I'll figure this out at some point in time. I might be in my 40s when I do, but
yeah, dude, transcendent shit. Yeah. I mean, it's cool. It like, did you like Dinosaur Jr.?
I missed the boat on them in the 90s. Like, I knew Field of Pain, and I knew Mascis, you know, I knew of him and like kind of his contribution to the alternative music scene. And I definitely heard some Dinosaur Jr. in the 90s, but it was a band that I would kind of come back and have a greater appreciation for later. A lot of bands, like one that I didn't know about at all was Built to Spill. And now I love Built to Spill. That was one that just completely passed me by.
Yeah. Wow.
They're amazing.
Yeah. They're
amazing band.
Ridiculously good. Like that. And they're they're a full album band too. Like,
they're a full album band. You got to start to finish. And it's like a work of art, because you're going to change tempos, and you're going to go all over the place. So there's so many bands like that. Pavement too. Yeah. Pavement was one that I wrote off because my favorite band was the Smashing Pumpkins. And all I knew was that the Smashing Pumpkins and Pavement like hated each other. That was like the big rivalry of the 90s. And so I was like, well, I'm not listening to Pavement then.
Yeah.
But of course now I'm like, oh, I like Pavement. And so there's a lot of bands that you just didn't take the time for. Another one is Goo Goo Dolls. We were taught Goo Goo Dolls were like Name, Iris, you know, the pop hits. But a lot of people didn't realize that the Goo Goo Dolls before that were kind of this edgy pop punk, you know, rock and roll band that had gritty songs. Yeah. And so it's funny because you hear the name Goo Goo Dolls and you're like, oh, the guys who wrote the song for City of Angels? Yeah. And you're like, no. Before all that. And so, you know, it's just funny how bands are given to the world a certain way, and you experiencing them a different way. So
I have weird connections to the Goo Goo Dolls in 2 or 3 different ways. So the first one is in the 90s, we toured the Northeast with this band called Ben, and we did a big swing up the Northeast, up to like Buffalo and New York and Vermont and Maine and all that shit. And when we stayed in Buffalo, we stayed in the Goo Goo Dolls house. So they like lived in this house, and some of the dudes in Ben lived in that house. The Goo Goo Dolls were not there at the time, but
that's crazy.
Yeah. So that was one. And then like 6-7 years ago, when my 90s cover band played in Malibu, we played a Goo Goo Dolls song. We played Slide. And like, it's a band that I never listened to that much, really. Like for the reasons you said, like I was just like, yeah, they're fine.
They're fine. Yeah.
But I got a big appreciation for them learning that song and playing that song. And so we finished our set, and this dude comes up to us and he's like, I've never heard a band do that well. You guys fucking crushed it. It was the drummer from the Goo Goo Dolls.
How amazing.
Right?
How amazing. Yeah.
I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, that's awesome.
Fuck yeah. That's high praise. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was cool, and it's a good song. You're like, damn, that's a really catchy song. It's really good. So, Built to Spill. Who else were we talking about? Oh, Dinosaur Jr. I wanted to tell you, listen to, if you get a chance. He has a record. It's just Jay Mascis, and it's called Martin and Me, and it's just him and a Martin guitar playing Dinosaur Jr. songs, and it's
cool.
It's so dope. Good. It's so dope. Like, I was a huge Dinosaur Jr. fan. They played at my college, actually. It was the loudest concert I've ever seen. Ever.
Really?
All concerts. I mean, it was in the basketball gym, and I don't know how...
That's why. Dude, that echo in there kills you.
But he had a lot of Marshalls on stage. Like, too many speakers. I was like,
too many
Jesus
Marshalls.
Christ. And I love loud shit. Like, love loud shit. And I was like, holy shit, it was loud. It was fucking awesome though. Like,
have you been able to get to the age you are now without any tinnitus because you're a drummer? Like, do you have any ringing in your ears, or have you made it this far without any?
I made it this far without it. I would say I have I don't have tinnitus, I don't think, and I've been tested, and I had a game changer experience a couple years ago. I went and got like the kind of earplugs that they mold your ear. So like they pour this shit in there. Dude.
It's shaped
Oh my God, game changer. Like literally changed everything about how I heard music on stage. That was huge. Before that I would just use the foam ones, and then for a long time I didn't do anything. So I got lucky, and I really haven't had too much degradation in my hearing, but I do like to sleep with like a white noise, like a fan. So it's not necessarily a ring.
I can't sleep without white noise. I can't sleep without white noise.
Yeah, I don't think it's a ring so much as just low-level hum, maybe. And like when I come out of playing really loud, because when I rehearse, I have to have headphones and play like an electronic kit, so it's loud. My ears ring a little bit after that, after sessions there, but so far so good. I think when I got tested a couple years ago, I really hadn't lost much EQ on either end of the spectrum, so I was pretty pleased.
That's cool.
Maybe it's grown back or something over the years, and I can kill it again a little bit. But my old guitar player always gives me shit because his ear was literally right next to my cymbals for 10 years, and I hit him real hard, and he was just like, your fucking cymbal would just eat into my ear, and he'd make this sound. He'd be like, 10 years, like, just like, yeah, sorry, man.
That's so funny. I actually have a cracked eardrum. Like it's damaged. It's got a split in it, and it's I went back when I was swimming in the oceans for the Chans. I went into a doctor's appointment, and he was like, "Do you swim?" And I was like, "I swim in the ocean for this, these events." And he said, "Well, you have a cracked eardrum, so you should always wear, something in that ear, because he goes, it'll get damaged." And I figured out, I traced it all the way back. I don't have tinnitus. I don't think I have any hearing loss, but it's just a fragile thing. I was in a play when I was in high school, and we had blanks on stage. And when we were learning about how to fire blanks, because this was at a community theater, they called Death Trap. And while we were learning how to do the blanks, we were young, community theater. One of the other actors, he accidentally let the blank go off like right by the side of my head. And I remember my ear being like, ooh, for like 3 days after that. So I was like, oh, that was it. That was the moment where I cracked my eardrum. So, but I mean, I can hear out of my ear just fine, but it's just crazy. I did damage my eardrum from theater.
Holy shit.
So when we play, I'll probably have to put something in there just to make sure I don't blow up my eardrum.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so psyched. I'm definitely like, fun. I think you'll have a blast. I really think you'll have a blast. It'll be what we turn it into. Like,
yeah, I was a much stronger singer in my, I have a lot of anxiety and nerves about it a little bit, because when I was in high school and in college, I was a stage musical theater performer, and I was taking vocal lessons, and I could sing like really well.
Yeah.
But, I haven't flexed that muscle in a long time. And so there's a lot of me that I'm like, well, I'm not that strong of a singer anymore. I know with time that'll only strengthen and it'll only get better and better and better if I flex that muscle. But I'm definitely not the vocalist I once was. So I'm hoping we can just have fun, sing along to some songs, do the best I can, and then maybe my voice will start to kind of shake off the dust and come back out again. So it'll be so dope.
This is fun, dude. I'm so
psyched
you got to tell.
I love coming on your show.
The TikTok story, and I think it's so fun, man. I showed it to like at least 15 people last week when I was on vacation. Like, you got to watch this. You got to watch this guy. Like, it's just so funny. Awesome. It's so good. But I'm learning. I love that part.
What's so fun for me is I have friends that'll say their joy is getting shown video of me, and it's not from me. Like, I'm not sharing or promoting. It's not something you're seeing in my social media. It's like, somebody who I know who lives in Toronto is at their job and they're like, you got to see this guy. And he's like, oh yeah, that's my Jacob. Or somebody I know who lives, around the world, and they're getting shown this video. Really fun. It's really fun for me to find out that people are sharing the video to so many people that it's getting to people I've known my entire life, not from me, from me, So,
are you seeing any translation into like people seeing other things? Are you seeing upticks in your other product, other channels?
We'll see. I just did the video last week of, I did it over the weekend, I guess, which was the thank you for 100K. And in that was the first time that I really talked about, the movie, the web series, the bio-friendly podcast, and really promoted those things. And so, people in the comments were like, wow, cool. I had no idea. The funniest comment that I saw was like, I just thought you were some dude who like lived in his mom's basement who loved music. And I had no idea. And so, it was fun for me to tell that audience, the people that did watch it, to go like, I love music and I make these funny TikToks, but I've been at this for a long time, so we'll see what happens at the time. I'm hoping that, at this rate, keep making videos and that 100K turns into 200K, turns into 300K.
Yeah.
I mean, you've just got yourself a good group of people that are all about what you're making. And that's what I'm looking for.
Right on. Well, congratulations. I'm psyched for you. I can't wait to hear the podcast and watch it for the next video. So thanks, man. Be well.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, thank you for having me on the show, and I'll see you again soon, Matt.
Word.
Each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop just before I begin.